The rising cost of food is frustrating, so let's talk about the top 8 ways that you can consistently stop overspending on groceries.
There may be some very specific reasons that you're consistently going over in your grocery budget.
But the good news is there are also some really easy ways that you can ease the strain of rising grocery costs.
And you don't have to eat ramen every night for supper, unless you really like ramen.
If you don't know us, I'm Hope.
And I'm Larry.
And this is Under the Median, where every week we talk about practical frugality. Tip number 1 is that you need to prioritize your purchases. You know, all of us would love nothing more than to go to the grocery store and buy whatever we want, but that just isn't realistic. And that's why your grocery list itself needs to be prioritized. That means the most important things that you need to make sure get into your cart that week are all the way at the top of the list. And maybe those sugary drinks or that bag of chips, those need to be at the bottom of the list.
You should definitely be using a calculator while you're out shopping to add up the cost of everything you're putting in your shopping cart so you know exactly how much money that you're going to spend on this trip.
And remember, make sure you're buying the basics first. You can buy that really great bottle of balsamic vinegar, but if you don't have any onions, carrots, celery, and garlic at home, it's really hard to feed your family all week with just that bottle of vinegar.
The bottom line is you can edit as you go. Those items that are at the bottom of your list, because they're the non-prioritized items, those are optional, and you can easily take those off and avoid purchasing them.
Tip number 2, have dedicated stock up money in your grocery budget. We do this using what we call the 1/5 method. We take our entire grocery budget and divide it into fifths. For example, if your grocery budget is $500 a month, you divide it into fifths, meaning that you have 5 sections of $100. $100 or 1/5 of that grocery budget is dedicated to stocking up. So that when you go to the grocery store and you find some amazing deals or you find some clearance or some closeout items, you know that you can easily buy them and still stay within your grocery budget. It allows you to stock up on items, and you know you're not going to blow the grocery budget because you always have that leftover 80% available, and that provides the grocery budget for the 4 weeks throughout the month.
Having that 1/5 stock up fund will take the guesswork out of whether you can afford to purchase some extra things that might be on some super good sales at your local store. Create a regular rotation of low-cost meals. I love it when Hope does this, and our family does too.
Really, when it comes to your family's favorites, have you ever heard like monotony is a serious problem with them? No, Mom, please don't give us pizza again. Please don't give us a baked potato bar again. Please, tacos. No, no, no. Of course not. Your family loves to see their favorites on repeat. And in fact, if you don't know what your family really likes, poll them. Ask them, what meals do I make that you really, really enjoy? Those are the meals, specifically low-cost meals, that you're going to put on a regular rotation throughout the month. Some ideas that we use, I mentioned a baked potato bar, tacos, one of Larry's definite favorites.
I like that.
We have a lot of different ways to make tacos. Our whole rule in this family is if you can put it on top of a tortilla, that constitutes a taco. So we make oftentimes some buffalo wings out of cauliflower. Basically, you're going to dip it in the buffalo wing sauce and you're going to put it in the oven and bake it off. And then that goes inside the tacos with some other traditional type taco fillings. And it makes a really nice meal. It makes it kind of special, but you don't spend a lot of money doing it.
Lentil tacos are another item. Lentils are very filling, and I think they're really good in a taco. Really gives you a good sense of eating good food.
I do believe that we've even made tacos out of leftover rice pilaf. Yes, we have done it.
Another couple items that we like to make on this is sub sandwiches. Oh, those are so good. You can do so many different things with those. Also, creating homemade pizza pockets. That's a very low-cost meal, very tasty, and it just goes over so well.
Don't forget soup and salad and burgers and fries. That's our list of items that regularly appear in our menu plan. We'd love to know from you, what are your family's favorites that they don't mind at all if you put them on repeat? Tell us about it in the comments section. Ultimately, if you are making items your family enjoys and they are low-cost meals, you are going to save money on your monthly grocery budget. This entire video is centered around all the best ways to save money on food every month for your family. Now, if you would like to know our top 10 tips that will help you to cut your grocery costs in half, I wrote a guide on it. It's a free guide, and I'll make sure that there's a link to it in the description of this video.
If these tips are game changers for you, make sure that you hit the like button so that YouTube will rotate this around for others to see.
And speaking of game changers, there is something that happened to me recently that was absolutely a game changer. I broke my arm almost 3 months ago now, and I could not sleep. I tried to sleep in a traditional recliner for weeks. I could not get comfortable. Larry and I quickly realized that what we needed was a lift chair. And we got one from Flexa Spot, who is our partner for this video. The main problem I had was that our old recliner rocked forward, and it didn't allow me to get out of the chair unless I did 3 things. I counted to 3, winced, and then screamed in pain when I tried to get to my feet. But the lift function on the Flexa Spot XL6 recliner made it so easy and relatively pain-free to get to a standing position. A traditional recliner also didn't give me enough control over the exact position of the footrest or the headrest. That's why it's fantastic that the headrest adjusts to 3 positions. The dual control motors on the Flexa Spot are independently controlled, so I could find that perfect sweet spot for the backrest and the footrest and then just leave it there. In fact, this chair will lay almost completely flat if that's what you need, and it will hold up to 400 pounds. The Flexa Spot XL6 recliner has the most amazing heat and massage functions because my muscles were really sore. Guys, this is serious self-care. I can massage my lower back, my neck, and shoulders, or just have an all-over gentle massage. Another problem, the curve of my neck completely unsupported in the old chair. My solution did not work very well, was to roll up a towel and put it behind my neck. The backrest on the Flexa Spot adjusts, and look at this cute little matching pillow that comes with the recliner. It was literally the perfect size and shape to put right there underneath of my neck. Not only does the Flexa Spot XL6 recliner check all of our boxes, but it is half the price of the competition. We asked Flexa Spot if they would provide a super sweet deal for our viewers, and they said yes. They gave us a special coupon code. That code will be all the way at the top of the description of this video, along with a link for Flexa Spot. That will get you $50 off of a chair, or Flexa Spot said you can use it twice, so you can use it on 2 chairs and get $100 off.
Tip number 4 is avoid prepped food.
Now we think of prepared food. This isn't prepared food. We're talking prepped food. Food where all the work has been done for you. Think in terms of things like this watermelon, which once you cut it up is astronomically more per pound than if you bought the whole watermelon. And in case you didn't know it, watermelon, yes indeed, it will freeze. Buy the whole melon, cut it into chunks, and put the chunks you're not going to use right away into the freezer.
Those cute little snack packs for lunch, those are super expensive.
Not only that, you don't get much in them. My kids would always come home and go, "You're not going to believe what the other kids were eating. There's hardly anything in there." And they had these massive lunches that I had made from scratch for less money than the snack packs.
Meat and cheese trays are convenient, but you can make these for a lot less if you put them together individually.
In fact, that is the whole general idea of this section of prepped ingredients. Do it yourself. If you buy it whole and cut it up yourself, you will save an astronomical amount of money. Now, let's sort of look at the other side of the coin we just alluded to, and that is prepared foods.
That's right. Don't buy prepackaged or prepared foods.
There are entire aisles of the grocery store dedicated to heat and eat versions of breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks.
These snacks, sides, and entrees are super expensive when compared to the ones that you can put together yourself.
We would also put things like prepackaged granola in with this category, and prepackaged nuts and candies.
Once again, just buy the raw ingredients and make them yourself. Just put them in a Ziploc bag and have those as snacks for lunches.
Tip number 6, and listen up because this was a game changer for us. Buy low-cost base ingredients. Whenever you are creating your menu plan, think about what is going to provide the base of those meals. We're talking things like starches. You have oats, you have beans, you have pasta, you have quinoa, you have rice. Those are all starchy type things that when you cook them and buy them, even if you buy them in bulk, you get them at an even lower price than you're going to get them at the grocery store. Provide those as the base of your recipes. Then on top of that base, you're going to do some non-starchy type things. You might put your meat on there. By the way, if you have a piece of meat and you cut it up in much smaller pieces before you add it to a recipe, your family will still feel like they're eating meat, but they will be eating less of it and it will stretch and go farther. There's also non-starchy vegetables that you can put on top of that base ingredient.
Add a small amount of sour cream or sprinkle some cheese on top of that entree to make it very tasty.
You can even do these as you're ready to serve it. If you pass the big tub of sour cream or you pass the bag of shredded cheddar cheese, guess what's going to happen? Your kids are going to liberally sprinkle that on top. If you portion it out as you're handing it to your family, it will go farther. What your mouth craves is that little bit of fat at the end, that little bit of what I call mouth round fullness. You can still get that, but you can get it by using smaller quantities.
Buy loss leaders, closeout, and special sales.
Oh my! Loss leaders, if you don't know what they are, those are the ultra low priced items that generally appear on the front of the grocery store flyer. They're designed by the grocery store to get you into the store, hoping you'll buy those items and all the rest of the items on your grocery list.
Don't just buy them, buy a lot of them.
People get intimidated by the feeling of walking out with, say, 12 or 14 of big peppers that they have put. Don't put it in your arms, guys. Put it in those little bags the store provides for you.
Yeah.
Here is my formula that I use for using up items like that I've gotten at ultra good deals without wasting a single ounce of those items. Here's my example. A while back, I got 14 bunches of broccoli from a local ethnic store. It was organic broccoli, and I got it for the equivalent of $1 per bunch. That's a lot of broccoli, guys. So how did I plan to use that broccoli without wasting any of it and without my family feeling like the only thing they were eating that week was broccoli? Here's my formula.
Number 1, create a menu plan and create all kinds of different ways that you can use it so you're not just using the same recipe every night.
Once again, we're all about examples. Here's how I used the broccoli.
Hope did this in 3 main dishes. There was roasted potato and broccoli lasagna. That was really good. Scalloped broccoli casserole. This was made from the stems, which had been riced using a food slicer or in the food processor. Riced vegetable pilaf was another one that Hope did.
There was a side dish that I made, and I put this under the side dish category on the menu plan. It was a broccoli buffalo wings. Now, we served this alongside some carrot corn dogs, and it's what our kids like to call a snacky supper. So I actually took 2 side dishes and mashed them together in order to make a snacky supper.
There are 2 salads, a Mexican Fiesta quinoa salad and a raw veggie tray. One of the boys artistically created it.
We had 2 soups, potato broccoli soup, and also vegetable soup. Now here's where it comes in at the end, guys. Whatever was left over, I blanched it and froze it for later use. One of the keys to using this method of buying food and consistently feeding your family food which has been purchased at the lowest price possible is to make sure that you know how you can preserve that food for later use. We're huge fans in either freezing them or also dehydrating them.
By following this single tip, you can cut hundreds of dollars off of your food bill every year.
Tip number 8, inventory perishables. This was another game changer for us. Once we started doing this on a regular basis, we were able to cut our food budget back by about 20%. And that's a significant amount. Here's how it works. You set 1 day a week when you are going to take everything out of the refrigerator that is perishable and you're going to inventory it. You can make a simple list, or you can use an inventory sheet like this one. And once again, this list, as with a lot of things that we talk about, is going to be prioritized. That means that the items with the shortest shelf life are going to go at the top of that list. What that does is remind you, I need to use these items up first. So if you've got leaf lettuce, it's going to be a lot higher on that list than, for instance, cabbage. Cabbage will last a good 4 weeks in the refrigerator.
Yeah, it does.
But leaf lettuce just isn't going to last you that long. So make sure that the items you need to use first are at the top of the list and you use them up first. How do you use them? The exact same formula we just showed you. You're going to create a menu plan, and usually the mini menu plan that I'm able to create when we do this every Thursday is 3 days worth of food for my family. By the time you get to Thursday, raise your hand if you're like, it's almost to the end of the week. I am tired. Tomorrow is Friday. We're going to stop. We're going to get a little something on the way home because it's the weekend. So we get a little takeout or we get a little frozen pizza. And while we're there at the grocery store, we may as well get a bunch of other stuff because we are what? Out of food at home. We're hungry, yes. And we're out of food at home. The truth is, you're not really out of food at home. It's just generally not that way. And it happens with us too. And I'm like, Larry, look at this. We've got 3 days worth of food I can make based off of what we just pulled out of the refrigerator. Make sure you pull out the odds and ends too, guys, because you can always make like a dynamite vegetable soup, usually with all the leftover odds and ends of vegetables you've got left in the refrigerator. This allows you to use what you've already paid your hard-earned money for and not wind up throwing it out in the garbage because it's gotten brown or slimy or in other ways inedible. It will completely cut your food waste to almost zero with this one simple tip. Inventory your perishables every week.
I noticed that Hope mentioned that cabbage can keep for 4 weeks, but I've noticed around our house it barely keeps for 2 weeks because we eat it so fast.
This is just some of the really important money-saving hacks when it comes to groceries. If you'd like a list of 30 things that you will dramatically drop your grocery bills, if you'll just stop buying these 30 things at the grocery store, we did a video on it. It's a super fun video. It's right over there. Go take a look at that video next.